Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are at the next topic, that is the middle game positions explained. We are at the 12th position of our topic. We have got a position based on typical kingside attack. We see that white pieces are somewhat active and slightly well developed. Mainly the white pieces are focusing directly near the black king. Bishop eyes g7, c2 bishop attacks h7, queen can go to g4 or h5 to attack g7 or h7. Although g4 square is right now not available, g3 is there. We should look at some candidate moves first. For example, bishop h7 check, bishop into g7, and then the moves qh5 and qg3. At least these four moves we should consider. There is more possibility of getting the solution quickly if we look at the forced lines first. So white started his calculation in the move bishop h7. Those who have studied positions where two bishops aim on the g7 and h7 squares from a long range, they must be aware of the possibility of the bishop's sacrifice happening on h7 and g7 squares. Sometimes a double bishop sacrifice is possible. Mostly the double bishop sacrifice is followed by rook's entry into the king side by lifting the rook up, which is sometimes called rook lift or the rook shift. So we see such a thing in this game. White started his calculation with the move bishop h7. After bishop h7, king h7, queen h5 check, king g8, we see that qg5 can be just made by bishop into e5 when the attack on g7 would be gone. So white calculates further in the forced variations. After queen h5 kg8, he looks into the move bg7. At first it looks like it wins very easily, but there are some complications. After kg7, first queen g5 check, forcing the king to the corner. Whenever we are giving up two bishops this way, it's very important to look at both the king moves, king h8 and king h7. Sometimes if the king is on h8, the opponent's defensive pieces, especially the major pieces from the third rank, can try to come to the square h6, or if it is on the second rank, it can try to come to the square h7. Accordingly, black can try to move his king. So in this case, with king h8, what he can do, after the move rook d4, trying to shift the rook to h4, black has the move f6. We need to note this defense properly. Although in this case it doesn't work, because after rook h4 check, queen comes to h7, and after taking on h7, king h7, queen is attacked. So queen just moves with a check, and rook takes the bishop on e6 at the end, and white remains with queen versus rook and bishop, but he has got some extra pawns as well. So white is winning. Let's play that line and see first. Bishop h7 check, king takes h7, queen h5 check, kg8, bishop g7. Here there are some other defenses which are often possible. The move f6 or f5 many a times acts as a good defense when black is happy to part with one of his rook, because he has already taken two bishops. So one bishop on h7, and after bf8 he will take another one. But in this case, at the end, white can just take rook on e6 and get one of his bishops back, and he will be having two pawns extra plus an exchange up position. King g7, queen g5 check, and king h8 can be tried if black wants to use the presence of the queen's position on the second rank. So after f6, rook h4, f6 to keep the queen attacked. So queen h7, and now after taking on h7, king h7, queen first moves with a check, and then rook takes the bishop, and white is winning. But if we play this line only by this much calculation, then it is not correct. There is one very important defense possible for black. After the moves bishop h7, king h7, queen h5 check, kg8, bg7, king takes g7, queen g5 check, king h7, white saw the move rook d4 and he played it in the game. But he had actually seen black's main defense, that is the move qc4. Many a times such moves are missed. Black is happy to give up his queen because materially he is not inferior. Already white has given up 2 bishops and now rook for queen means for the queen black has taken rook plus 2 bishops, which is quite enough. And many will say that queen and 2 pawns are equal to rook and 2 bishops. Well, it can be equal points wise, but the 2 bishops and rook can be way powerful than the queen. In this case, black's king is exposed, so white is able to get an instant attack with the power of his queen. Let's see how. After rook into c4, b into c4, simply white uses more forces in the attack. White can go with the move f4 when f5 is unstoppable. After f6, white is able to create a new mating attack in the position. Let's play the moves and see. Bishop h7 check, king takes h7, queen h5 check, kg8, bg7, kg7, qg5 check, king h7 now, and after rook d4, the only move qc4. In the actual game, black resigned prematurely. He should have gone for this line and checked what white is doing. So after rook into c4, bc4, white has the very strong move f4. Of course, white would have played this, and now there is nothing much which can be done to the move f5. Black can try bc5 check, king f1, rook g8, trying to attack the queen, but after qh5 check, first keeping control of f5, kg7, f5, and now the bishop has to move away. If the bishop is not moved, then after fe, white has much more material. But if the bishop moves to c8 or d7, then white can just go with his attack with the move qg5 check. Very important intermezzo, king h7, queen check, keeping control of the f6 square, and after kg7 comes f6, and now it's game over. If king f8, then queen h6 mate in couple of moves, rook g7, qg7 mate, and after kg6, it's very easy. If we have understood the technique, king is extracted out, we can look for the mating move, rook e5, and it's over. Threat is queen g5 and rook g5, both are winning. So the position looked very simple at first, but the important defensive technique was to be noted. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.